All right. Good evening, Dolphin fans, and welcome to the FinsTalk Post Game Show. I'm Bobby FinsTalk, and welcome in the Miami Dolphins. Choke in Buffalo, losing 21-31. If it wasn't Zach Sealer, it was Tua Tagovailoa. We're here. Dolphins fall to 0-3 on the season after teasing that maybe, just maybe, they were going to do it. I'm Bobby FinsTalk, joined always by FinStanza. We thank you all for joining us at this late hour. 11:22 Eastern Time. Ray Finkel already in the house as well. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Hunter say, man, oh man, Sealer, two of the highest paid players on the team. As we get rolling here, FinStanza soaking in his dry tears. What a game. So we'll get into it here. The Dolphins drop again to 0-3 on the season, 31-21 to the Buffalo Bills. Tua finishing the day. I'm just going to go through this, Evan, before we roll in. Tua finished the day 22-34, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game, losing interception. Devon Achane, 12 carries, 62 yards, 5 yards average a carry, no touchdown. Ollie Gordon, 9 carries today, 38 yards and a touchdown. Malik Washington had 2 carries for 20. And Tyreek Hill, 5 receptions, 49 yards, a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 5 receptions, 39 yards, a touchdown. Achane with 7 receptions, 29 yards. Dotson led the team in tackles with a sack. Bradley Chubb, 3 sacks, 3 weeks. So he's 3 sacks on the season. Let's see here. Zach Sealer had 4 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 boneheaded ass play on special teams that more than likely cost Miami the game. What could have been, maybe, just maybe, the best. I don't know if I want to say, because there were some head scratchers. The best called game by Mike McDaniel. And the worst called game by Anthony Weaver. The Dolphins still find a way to choke the victory away. 21-31. We'll get into all of it. You are more than welcome to join us. Enter in the comments. We maybe, just maybe, depending on the time, drop a link here and there to hear from you. But Evan, your instant reaction, sir, as you can see, the topics that we're going to discuss. So try to be mindful. But your instant reaction to this game from just throughout, Miami surprisingly being in it till probably the third and a half, fourth quarter, back and forth, 14-14 of tie, 21. So what was your thoughts throughout the game, what you saw from Miami, and then what happened in the end? It just gave it all away.
I just have to say he's my quarterback. I just have to say that he is my quarterback. I believed in him since the start. I have to just say one thing, gentlemen. I said at the beginning of the pregame show, what do the Dolphins have to do? They have to lose the toss and they have to go downfield and get a lead. What happens? They get the ball. D. Eskridge gets a good return. They get down the field. But then
I just told Evan, Sammy's still up.
I almost fell asleep. But I must say, and I said to myself, if they make a stop here, but no surprise, the Dolphins, the string cheese, mozzarella defense falls asleep, and they let them come back in. And then we fall behind. And if you happen to notice, yes, in the end, Mike McDaniel may have called a great game. He's called many great games over the last 4 years. But what has that gotten us? There was a period of time where Tua, on 2 or 3 consecutive drives, looked pathetic. He kept on checking it down to Devon Achane, threw a hospital ball to Devon Achane. It's a security blanket at every chance. He wasn't checking the ball down the field. He was missing throws. I don't want to hear about the stat line that the offense was cooking. Every time they had a chance to get back into the game, they couldn't do it. So finally, they woke up and they started to come back. But I always said to everybody, it doesn't matter. Yes, was it more impressive than we expected? Great. But the Dolphins always end up doing something that's Dolphins. So the fact that Zach Sealer, the guy you just paid all that money to, who's your captain like Tua, is on the field for a special teams play, In any normal situation, you go look on the field, you don't see an Aaron Donald, you don't see a Max Crosby, you don't see a Micah Parsons, you don't see these type of players on the field on special teams. The fact that he was there is probably one of the first or second. He tried to be aggressive because the personnel decision to have him on that play was boneheaded beyond comprehension. Then on the drive, where we're finally in the red zone coming down, the Dolphins, between Tua and McDaniel, another stupid penalty gets called throughout the quarter, another penalty on the offensive line on 7-A. But then at the same time, we call a timeout that we could have utilized when we made that interception. Then on first down, in the red zone, the guy that people are complimenting, Mike McDaniel called a great game, phenomenal. What does he do? Gets away from the run game, and on a first down play, gives the ball to Tua Tagovailoa. And what does Tua Tagovailoa do? He backs up, he sees it zone, strays right at Jalen Waddle, and throws the ball. And in the second game in a row, Tua cost us the football game. But the call to give it to Tua Tagovailoa wasn't on Tua Tagovailoa. He is 100% to blame for the loss along with Zach Sealer, but everyone always has to remember that it doesn't matter how good of a game Mike McDaniel calls. He is the head coach of this football team. He made that play call not to do a run on that play. He is, in the end, responsible for the loss tonight. Yes, did they play well? What does that do? It doesn't. The famous line, almost is only close in horseshoes and hand grenades. It doesn't matter. The Miami Dolphins did what Dolphins do to us every single time they do. They give us hope. There's a sense. How many times has this happened? In the snow game, we give up the run. Last year, boneheaded play by Poyer. This year, today, it's Sealer and McDaniel. In the end, you can't just blame it on the players because the players, yes, are there, but there's a lack of discipline. There's a lack of concept to say, don't try to block that punt. Just let it go. We need the ball. We'll give it back. We'll get back down the field. There was too much pressure on these players to try to get that win tonight because they were trying to win it for their coach. They were trying to save their coach's job because all week they had to hear, fire McDaniel, fire Greer. So did they give an effort? Do I love my football team? Yes. Great effort. You want to know what? The defense in the end made some stops. The offense was humming. But it doesn't matter because you play to win the game. And the Miami Dolphins had a chance to win this football game. And once again, the guy that Mike McDaniel banged the table for to give $50 million to, and the guy they had to extend and re-sign, who's been a ghost of himself since he signed that contract, but all the players that were the veterans, that were the leadership on this team are gone. This is what you're going to see. And we could be proud of the fact that they showed an effort. But the effort would have been 7-0. Put the foot on the gas. You had a lead and you couldn't even hold it for even a quarter. So in the end, Weaver is a disappointment. McDaniel will always be a disappointment. Tua's an effing disaster. Zach Sealer, without has been a ghost of himself. Most of the defensive line has been a ghost of himself. I was chatting with somebody before, one of my close friends who's a big Dolphins fan. This team can't tackle. James Cook cooked. What was my key to the game? Keep James Cook, neutralize him. Josh Allen will not win the game on his own tonight. Josh Allen wasn't phenomenal tonight. James Cook killed them today. James Cook crushed them today. All I can say is in the end, with his binoculars, Stephen Ross needs binoculars because he doesn't seem to see what is truly out there. He may believe in his coach. He might be loyal to his general manager. But until you make a fundamental scorched earth change, I want to be positive like Scotty and Daniel and Sea Devil and everybody there. But when Emmanuel Acho and Warren Sharp and all these analytical people who were backing Tua and were defending Tua, at this point, guys, we have to come to the realization that, remember, Bobby, you once said when we first started doing podcasting, you want that one Super Bowl. And it doesn't matter. And I once said to you, I'd rather have years of success. And yes, the Super Bowl would be nice. But now we're not even close to either. And if you truly believe that Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer and Stephen Ross and the foundation of Tua and Phillips, they better not sign Phillips because he's come back from that injury in the first 3 games. He can't pick up. James Cook pushed him away like he was nothing. The guy, the Greek god that he is, can't form a tackle. If they truly believe that this is what is going to lead us, it's going to be 25 years of mediocrity, of the fact that we can't even win a playoff game. Why would you want to continue with the same stuff?
Playoffs? I just want to win a game.
Exactly. Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, and they both need to be gone, have to come to the realization, and Steve Ross has to realize this, is that's not about the fan base. It's about pride. You are the laughing stock of this football league because you are the only team that has not won a playoff game in 25 years. You're 0-3 to start the season. The last 3 times you had the ability to win in Buffalo, you've choked it down the throat like a dog and you gave the game away. And who has been the head coach since that playoff game with Skylar Thompson, forgetting it was 4th down? It was him. We burned timeouts. We did. I don't care how great of a play call he is, because even with his great, amazing play calling, Bobby, he doesn't win football games. He loses 5 games in a row every single year. Boneheaded plays on both sides of the ball. And unfortunately, he is the head coach. He has to be on the chopping block.
Let me pause you. Let me pause you because you did exactly what I told you not to do.
I wasn't looking.
You're like McDaniel's cousin. You just let's pause for a minute because you're like running through all the talking points, and
we'll come back.
I know you got plenty to go. I know you ain't done yet. First of all, welcome everybody who's just joining us. We got over 122 people in the room. We appreciate you from wherever you're tuning in to. If you're watching on FTSN YouTube, FTSN Extra, Twitch, X, Facebook, we appreciate you. If you're anywhere other than YouTube, come on over, hit that subscribe button, tune in, join in on the conversation. Look, not denying anything you're talking about, but I'm going to tell you, we've seen it here. Hunter's throwing it in the comments, and my son, we were all fired up. Miami put up a fight, and we've all said again, 45-10. You had it. Eddie had it 42-21. Sammy 41-17. I had it 48-16. Miami did lose, not unexpected, but 31-21. Alex talked about it today. It wasn't how it went if they were going to lose, it's how they were going to lose. And yes, the ending with the boneheaded Penter interference and the boneheaded ugly interception, other than that, Miami put up a fight. Miami was in it with possibly the AFC champions for this season. They're going to me, the Buffalo Bills they're going to be the AFC representative for the Super Bowl. Detroit is going to be the NFC. So, but Miami, nobody expected the Miami to be in this game. They talked about it. If you listen to Al Michaels and Herb Street, they weren't giving Miami any sort of respect. They were saying, man, Buffalo's a fun team to watch. Nobody mentioned Miami. Nobody expected Miami to do what they were able to do. And I'm going to play, I hate to say that word, devil's advocate here. That's what I'm doing here. I don't want you guys to think that, Bobby's not. No, I'm just saying, Miami, they put it to Buffalo. They gave Buffalo a little bit to worry about. But of course, Miami's in the AFC East, the division rivals. But it still comes in Buffalo's owned Miami the last few years, but Miami showed up. Miami's offense hung with Buffalo's offense. As much as the toilet tissue defense allowed Buffalo just to carve them up like hot butter cheese, whatever you want to call it, the Dolphins' offense hung in and got some points on the board. So I got to ask you, because I've seen this. I've seen it from some commentators. I see it from some of the comments, the silver lining, moral victory, when this Joe Shad says win or lose, the Dolphins absolutely put up a good fight tonight. Good effort, good plan from Mike McDaniel. Some good stuff here, stuff to be proud of. I see some other people there too. I got to ask you, Miami lost tonight. They're 0-3. But is this a feel-good loss? Is this like a loss where you're like, you know what, man, we lost, but dang it, I'm proud of the effort. They get an A for effort. I'm happy. Is this a feel-good loss for the Dolphins? Silver lining. Moral victory.
I sometimes say to my boss, I don't know, Bobby, you have a boss. I have a boss. And they get to Matt, is this going to be done yet? And he goes, no. And I go, but I'm doing the best that I can. He goes, I don't need to hear that you're doing your best that you can. Get the job done, Bobby. That's the goal of the team. So they have a moral victory. They're 0-3. I said that before to somebody in the show. Don't insult, like when Brett actually made a comment to me earlier, and he goes, Tua sucks. I go, don't insult the word suck with the word Tua. Okay? And I said that before. The team is laughable because this is what Dolphins do. They're the team that does the best that they can. Zach Thomas always gave the best that he can. Jason Taylor always gave the best that he can. Ricky Williams always gave the best that he could. Dan Marino at the near the end gave the best that he could. You want to know what? Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain and all these guys. Jake Long gave the best that he could. Richard Webb gave the best that he could. You want honestly, it doesn't matter because as long as you do not have the right foundation on your football team, and which is in the end, you can get as many players as you want, but if you don't have the coach, the general manager, and the foundation from the top to the bottom in your organization, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't. I felt good that they lost. It wasn't a feel-good loss. I felt great that they lost because the way they lost was so Miami Dolphins, and the more they keep doing this, maybe Ross will finally say, "You want to know what? I can't deal with the heartbreak. I had a chance. I was 8-3." Then we ended up 8-8, and we couldn't, and we lost to Buffalo. Then we had the division, and then we crapped it down the toilet against Tennessee and Buffalo. And then we had to go to the coldest game, third coldest game in history, and we lost it again. My feel good is the fact that this was the first Dolphin jersey I bought many, many years ago when he was drafted. I literally, the moment they drafted him, I ordered the jersey. I've supported this guy for so long, but he has his he is so high on himself, and his confidence is so high because of his goddamn concussions, because Mike McDaniel's put this in his head that he's phenomenal. I honestly, game 4, after what he did the first 2 games, I am not kidding. If Mike McDaniel is been given carte blanche by Steve Ross and Chris Greer to lose as much as they could so they can draft a quarterback next year, then they're going to leave Tua in there. If they actually want a chance to win against the Jets next week, I put in Zach Wilson because this isn't a guy like a starting pitcher. Yeah, you need to yank him. The guy literally has cost you, Bobby. You need a closer, right? Every time you need a closer, you need someone to close the games. Your quarterback, your $50 million man, has had the ball in his hand 2 consecutive games, and he is literally he has done exactly the color of the football. He has shat himself. I'm surprised we don't see the color fluorescent green coming from his pants because he was wearing all white, because the man either peed himself or crapped himself every time he's in that moment.
This was not a feel-good loss. No, this is not there's no more victory here.
No, the loss made me feel good. Not in the way that you think. It wasn't a feel-good loss because of the great effort. I felt good about the loss because it was so Dolphins and so Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, but do you give – let me ask you this. I'm only challenging you. Listen. I'm going to challenge you here, okay? I'm not disagreeing with you what you're saying.
I have an answer already. I know your question.
I mean, let's see. Talk more about poo. I know. I mean, I've never seen nuclear-colored poo. Listen, you're not impressed by Miami's effort tonight against the Buffalo Bills?
No, because they've done this before. They've done this 4 times in a row in Buffalo. They always play well against the Jets and the Bills. It's a division.
But look, they're 0-3, but what do they got? They got the Jets, they got Carolina.
They didn't want to win tonight because when Tua had the chance in the first half to get back into the game, he crapped the bed for 2 and couldn't. It was chucking it down, and he threw. Did you not notice he threw the same ball to Tyreek Hill 3 or 4 times?
Yes,
and it went out of bounds. The outside the numbers, he's not accurate. If Mike McDaniel truly wanted to win that game, it's like a closer who's struggling and has the yips, or a kicker who has the yips.
He wasn't going to pull Tua. No. He wasn't going to.
No, not pull Tua. What was working in that drive?
Run the ball.
On first down, he gave it to Tua. That was not
listen.
Tua's decision. That is.
I know. Listen. We're going to get to it, but
the run way too often.
Yes. All right.
That's coaching.
Okay. No doubt. Every time Achin and Ollie Gordon, when they had the ball in their hand, they went right through the middle. They were positive yardage. All right, but we'll get to there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
you skip the line, you skip the
I'm ready to go back, yeah, but I have so much more to add.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, what a joke!
So
My proud
look,
number one.
Decent outing to start.
Eh.
I know.
No, he wasn't good tonight.
Hold on. For ball watchers, he was. You look at the stats.
81.2 passer rating. Everyone bragged about passer rating. His passer rating was in the toilet.
But when the game mattered, when the game was on the line, and he had a chance to tie it, he threw it right to the defender and threw the INT. Now, what is Tua's numbers on this season, Evan? What are his numbers right now? Yeah.
You have them?
No. What are they? Pull it up for me. Tua Tannehill to Aoa. I'm on the toilet right now. Poo is neon green in Canada.
The only show the game yet. 40 of 55 for 429 yards. He has a 72% completion percentage. Wonderful. An average of 8.8 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Sorry, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. QBR 22.3 or something like that, because they haven't calculated that one yet. It's a QBR 22.3, which is 30%.
I'm going to say this.
Well, let me be clear about this, Bobby, and I need to give you that stat. Do you know that Devon Achan's average per rush tonight was higher than Tua's average throw? The man threw more than, honestly, Bobby, he threw of his 22 completions, more than half of them were behind the line of scrimmage. That should not be defined as a pass. That should be defined as a lateral.
That's a run, yeah.
That's a run.
So, but can I just say, because we're going to talk about McDaniel's job after this performance.
I know.
No. But I'm going to say, we both have the same mindset on the head coaching job, right? I mean, there's no. I'm already doing homework. I got it here. I'm all about it. But today, after today's game, I'm more about this needs to be done. We need to move on from the QB position. We need change at the QB position.
We just get some breaking news. I just want to just say this.
Yeah, go.
I want to just say, because it was posted on Twitter, and I know you'll appreciate it because you're a massive supporter of him, that it was posted on Twitter that he gets to ring his bell tomorrow. The fact that Big E is done with his radiation. He has to do chemo till hopefully he gets his transplant. But because everyone supports him so much, that's a win. That's my win tonight. That guy like him, salt of the earth guy. No bigger, wonderful Big E. I'm a Big E, but he's a bigger E, way bigger E than I'll ever be.
No, shout out to Ian. I wish Miami would,
win for him.
Exactly, but he is a legitimate, you see, you think, oh, what, I wonder how that guy's behind closed doors. Ian is one of the best guys you can meet. You're a stranger, you're not a stranger to him. So God bless him. Prayers always up for him. And our thoughts and prayers are with him. So Newfoundland in the house says Tua always clutch for the opposing teams. I don't give up anymore. So, this is my thing, because you go, all right, you make the change at the head coach. Maybe you make the change at the GM. Tua stays for a season or two, whatever, as the bridge quarterback. I don't even think that's the case anymore. I mean, he had a, what do you want to call it? Decent game or whatever tonight. But Evan brings up the hospital balls, which is there. But again, the killer turnovers. When you don't need, first of all, he fumbles the ball. He gets it back, of course. Fumbles who did they used to blame back in the day? It was Connor Williams. Connor Williams used to do better as checking the ball. It's Tua, I used to say. It's Tua. It's not Connor. And there, look, where's Connor Williams today? He's not there. That's Aaron Brewer. Tua can't hold on to a ball. Did it again tonight. Then he throws a boneheaded game-costing INT. Tua Tagovailoa. And let me tell you, we won't see the end of that. And true, tonight's performance should make Dolphin fans feel comfortable maybe moving forward with teams against, like, if you could do this against, even though you only scored 21 points, if you could perform that way in the first couple halves against a team like Buffalo, you should have no problem against a team like the Carolina Panthers. You might have a headache with the Jets. I'm not ready to say it's a cakewalk with the Jets. No way. Monday Night Football, AFC East, Aaron Glenn. But this team should be a team that should be able to manhandle or take out Carolina. Get you, maybe 2-3, whatever. But of course, they didn't do that against the Colts. So we'll see. But where are you, what's going on with Tua, man? When you're looking at Tua, what do you see in him? Like for this year, what's been the difference? Because even when we like, man, weak arm, can't stay healthy. This is different. This is a new negative element where usually he's the guy's like, he gets the ball and he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. He gets it to where it needs to be, protects the football. He's anything but. He does not protect the football. He's fumbled it. He's thrown interceptions. You just said 5 and 4. He 4 interceptions. What's going on with him this year? What's the difference between last year, the year before that, and this season with Tua?
My buddy just messaged me. He doesn't understand what this means. Tua answered the question about the turnover. I had color in my face. I don't know what that exactly means. And I don't want to take about it. And I know a lot of people are colorblind.
Was he bleeding?
Maybe he's colorblind and he confuses white and blue. I don't know.
I doubt he's colorblind. I never heard about that.
Color could be blood. The fact that he had color in his face, I don't know. But what is the story with Tua? He was too big for his britches because Mike McDaniel, he's actually a veteran of this team. And all these people that came in the last year that are now gone, Tua is one of the mainstays. He ended up having issues with Tyreek. He's McDaniel's guy, and he believes he can get away with it because he has his money. Tua would not be acting the way that he's acting if he was on his 5th-year option or if he was still in the middle of his entry-level contract. This is a guy who believes he's the face of the franchise, and now that the pressure is truly on him, because of the fact that they gave him all these pieces, and now some of the pieces have now dwindled, he's not performing well. The man averaged 4.2 yards a carry tonight. The man, unless he's giving the ball to Achane or he's throwing it where there's an anticipatory throw, if Tua has to think or Tua uses his eyes to throw the ball, he will fail. Tua is a mid-level guy who's been successful because of the position he's been put in by his coaches. And like I told you at the beginning of the year, him and Mike McDaniel are no longer right for each other. Okay? Because of the fact that now Mike McDaniel, I said after 2023, got the best out of Tua. And now it's time sometimes for people to move on. Tua needed a new leader. Tua got the soft tissue business, the soft tissue toilet paper, Cottonelle treatment from Mike McDaniel. Now he needs a hard ass again. He needs his Nick Saban. He needs a Nick Saban. The problem was when he had Flo didn't want him. That was a problem. But Flo would have been the guy after McDaniel because he needs a guy kicking himself in the butt. There's a reason why he was successful with Nick Saban. People can't say he doesn't get tough love. His father's tough on him too. The problem was he needed somebody to rehabilitate him. Mike McDaniel did his job, but now it was time for them to move on. And then instead of doing that, they put trust in Tua. They put trust in McDaniel. I thought the writing was on the wall when they started losing like crazy. And to give you the ESPN insight, Tua with Mike McDaniel, they have an awful record together against these types of teams. Because in the clutch moments, these two guys don't know how to win. They don't know how to win in these moments. They just don't. They're not capable. Neither of them have been able to do it. If you think about it, Bobby, Tua's never done it. He did it once in college, and people are using that as God-forsaken grace. And I'm not going to go into Mike McDaniel until after because I see the title. But the reason why Tua is struggling is because Tua is like Seth Rollins right now in WWE. He has his vision. He has Paul Heyman. He has Braun Breaker. He has what's his name? who's the other guy?
Reed?
Bronson Reed. Tua has has Chris Greer. He has Mike McDaniel. He has Jonas Savaiinaea. He has Jalen Waddle. He has his guys. He has players who are defending him still. So no one's taking him to task. So as long as no one takes Tua to task, Mike McDaniel, if that was any other coach would give him shit when he walks back to the bench. He's never reprimanded. He's never been taken to task by Mike McDaniel and embarrassed by Mike McDaniel ever. Ever. Mike McDaniel accepts Tua for what he is and continues to give him his flowers. Tua's proven nothing. So Tua thinks he's okay. It's the same way, Bobby. If you let you have 3 kids, I have 3 kids. If you treat each kid differently, Mike McDaniel treats Tua like he's the A student. When you have to teach all your players equally, he treats Tua like he can do no wrong. And Tua is the biggest wrong of Mike McDaniel because Tua's actually gotten worse under Mike McDaniel, but Tua's not told that. Tua's told, you're doing a good job. You'll get it next time. It's okay. That's Tua's problem. Tua's not been given hard knocks, kicking your ass. The moment he was, they fired the coach.
Let me ask you very quick, and we'll get into the defense, and we'll talk more about Mike McDaniel in a few minutes. Yeah. No. But hearing you say that, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, and I'm not arguing you. I'm just asking you. Hearing you say that, are you saying Miami, with Tua at quarterback, could be successful with another head coach, like not Brian Flores, but a Brian Flores type coach, disciplinarian? Do you think Tua can, if he remained Miami's quarterback and Miami went and got a coach who was more like
Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban? 100%.
You could say anything. I mean, somebody like that. Yes. Do you think Miami could be successful with Tua at quarterback still with that type of coach?
Because Tua would be.
I'm not arguing. I'm just asking. I'm asking. Yes. Okay.
I believe that if Tua goes to, like I told you this, and people have said this before, Tua, if he goes, Tua's career is not going to be over when he leaves the Miami Dolphins.
No.
Someone's going to give him a shot, like a Ryan Tannehill. If Mike Vrabel was the coach right now of the Miami Dolphins, the team would not be the way that they are. If Bill Belichick was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, the team would not be how they are. The reason why I'm saying this is because Tua needed the coddling. The problem was he's still being coddled. He now needs a swift kick in the ass. Let me tell you, Jared Goff. He wasn't successful when he had a hard ass in with Jeff Fisher. They traded him away from Matthew Stafford, brought him to Detroit. But Dan Campbell had that soft touch, but he also was able to complement it by hiring the right offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, and he focused more on the defense, and that worked. Tua doesn't have that. Tua's only consistency in his career now, outside of Nick Saban, is Mike McDaniel. So to him, he does exactly as his coach tells him. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. Mike McDaniel's telling him, oh, the play's not there, give it to Achane. Oh, on that play, don't, you have to listen to me, throw the goddamn ball. Right? Where Jalen Waddle was standing is a route for Mike McDaniel. So Tua's mindset is, I'm going to do what my coach tells me. The problem is that the coach is, number one, doesn't look like he's fighting for his job. Mike McDaniel was not more aggressive tonight because he was about to lose his job. I don't ever believe that. I believe Mike McDaniel is too much of a cerebral human being to care if he's being fired tomorrow. If he gets fired, he'll be a man, and I think he'll take it. So for me, Tua's mindset, he needs a swift kick in the ass, a really swift kick in the ass. Tua's to blame for tonight. I don't blame Mike McDaniel as much as I blame Tua and Steeler tonight. The problem is that, and I don't want this, Bobby, I'll tell you right now, I don't want the season to be over, right? I don't want to come on the post-game show and the pregame show and talk overtime and FinsTalk Today for the next 14 weeks talking about the planning for next year. The reason why I want Mike McDaniel fired is because I know because you're delaying the inevitable. There's nothing you could possibly do to delay this. He's not going to survive this. And if Stephen Ross bring him back next year, it's not going to change anything because they won't have the money to spend it. But they don't have the money to spend it next year anyways. They can't improve this roster next year. So what are they looking for? The only thing they can do, because the only thing you could do right now is literally bring in somebody to kick the crap out of this team and give them that boost. Anytime you bring in a new coach, you get a boost. No matter what, it will get them back to 1, 2, and 3, or 3 and 3. I'm telling you, you fire him tomorrow, you put an interim, they will win the next 3. I'm telling you, they'll win the next 3.
I will say, we're going to talk about a potential interim because if Mike McDaniel gets fired,
he won't be. I know he won't.
Well, if more than likely, or not more than likely, but the favorite amongst Dolphin fans to be the interim coach is Coach Anthony Weaver. But before we get that, I think you're right. If you look at the next, which is a lot coming from you, that expression, you know what I'm saying, from where you started to where it is now, and we'll get into that. But I want to say, you look at the next few games again, the Jets, the Panthers, this is sort of a bye week coming up here for Miami. If you were to do it, or if you were planning on doing it, if Stephen Ross is, I was about to say Rick Ross, if Stephen Ross is sitting there going, I can't stand this, we need to make a change, we need to be ahead of the curve, we need to start looking at coaches, well, let's make a change. If you want to make a change right now, or you're thinking about making a change at any point right now, now's the time to do it besides the bye week. Because of the schedule, because it's an easier look, because you could put that you could inject that little bit of hopium into the team where they go, and then, we got the Jets, we're 1 and 3. We got the Panthers, we're 2 and 3. Whatever teams after that, I don't have in front of me. So could be the case, but we'll get more into that in just a few minutes. The defense. Again, every time it looked like, Miami had it, the third down, they stop Buffalo's offense. They give up a penalty, or, like a Swiss Army knife, James Cook, who you highlighted at the start of the pregame show. You're like, it's not Josh Allen. They can't stop Josh Allen. They need to stop James Cook. They couldn't stop James Cook. Whenever he had the ball in his hands, it was easy. Anthony Weaver, like a lot of players or coaches, as soon as they, my fans in general, either they put him on a big pedestal and it's like, oh, this is the heir apparent, or this is the guy. They do it with Tua, they did it with McDaniel, now they did it with Weaver, or they start real low. Oh, he should never been hired for. They never just, let's let it play out. Anthony Weaver, for as much hype, and look, he's favored around the league. They look at him kindly. If Miami's coaching staff got fired today, he'll have a job tomorrow, no doubt. He's favored around the league, and he could just say, "Hey, man, look at the talent I have on this defense. What am I supposed to do with him?" But there's no doubt this falls on him. His defense, the past 3 weeks, we knew what the flaws were. They don't play up to par. They don't show the effort. They're making mental errors, even with the talent on the field. And that D-line, the only one living up to the D-line is Bradley Chubb. As much hate as his trade has gotten, and people always say trade Chubb and this and that, he's the only one who's been productive on that D-line. Kenneth Grant is a rookie. I ain't going to stress over that. Zach Sealer, he got his payday. We love Zach Sealer. I love Zach Sealer. I'm happy he's a Dolphin. He like Tua cost us the game today. But Zach Sealer's been absentee since he's gotten his deal. Jalen Phillips, off 2 major injuries. Big comeback. We're happy he's healthy. We happy he's here. He's nowhere to be found. It's paranormal activity. I know something's there. I just can't see him. I think I'm watching John Cena. I can't see Jalen Phillips.
He's Gilbert.
Bradley Chubb is the only one. 3 games, 3 weeks, 3 sacks. Other than that, the linebackers, the safeties, the corners, defensive line, failure. Embarrassing.
I have to disagree with you about except for one player.
Fine by me.
Ashton
All
Davis.
I'm saying is
Ashton
Anthony
Davis
Weaver Anthony Weaver, who when he got hired, you said, this is our head coach. This guy's going to be the head coach. He should be the head coach. I'm not saying you were wrong at that point in time. I know where you're, but what I'm saying is from here down here, he could be the interim coach. If you want to make him the interim coach, do it. If you fire McDaniel, he has, I'm maybe just he's a better coach than the head coach than he is a D coach, but he hasn't shown anything to earn it. He has failed. If we're going to call out Mike McDaniel, you got to call out. Oh my God, I'm losing his name right now. Anthony Weaver. Got to call him out. You were very high on Anthony Weaver, brought him. Everybody was, but you were higher in regards of, Len, I don't see this guy as just a D coordinator. I see this guy as the future head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Shut up. Where do you stand on, first of all, what do you think of this defense so far this year? Yes, you're going hard on the offense. You go hard on Mike McDaniel. Where do you stand on our defense, and where do you stand on Anthony Weaver right now as the defensive coordinator?
Basically, the defense has followed the footsteps of the offense in the sense that the offense last year fell apart at the end. The defense was the linchpin of our team last year, and I think they got it too little high on their britches. And unfortunately, the fact that they used to rely on a secondary that was a little more powerful because they thought they had Jalen Ramsey back there and Javon Holland back there, and Calais Campbell was a leader. Right now, they're lacking leadership on the defensive line, on all over that offense, all over. Minka Fitzpatrick has not been here during the Mike McDaniel era. Bradley Chubb has hardly been here because he's been injured. Jalen Phillips has been a shell of himself. So it's really been Zach Sealer. Now Zach Sealer has gotten out of his own way, and he's gotten too big for his britches again. And it's literally, they all think they're greater than what they are, and they're supposed to be a team, and they're supposed to be the sum of their parts. Usually, as we always say, Greg says it, Brett said, you should be building your defense from the outside in, the same way the Ravens do it, the same way the Chiefs do it. Unfortunately, and that's what the Steelers tried to do this year by bringing in Ramsey. The fact of the matter is that the defense looks like the offense is when they're not cooking. They just look too laissez-faire. They're playing zone, but there's no concept behind it. Anthony Weaver has lost himself a head coaching job. By staying with Mike McDaniel, he's cost himself a chance to get an NFL head coaching job. He had the opportunity this past year with the Saints and all that. He lost his opportunity. So I feel bad for him in that sense. But unfortunately, maybe he's too nice of a guy. Maybe that's what works for Mike McDaniel. That's why Vic Fangio ran away from this after a year. And maybe we were wrong. It seems that any of the mean guys we get rid of that end up going to have success everywhere else. Because when Brian Flores wasn't here, Brian Flores was successful in all the other two places he's been, and he was okay in Miami in terms of his actual accomplishments. Anthony Weaver was with the Ravens. So what has changed? The only thing that's changed for him is he doesn't have John Harbaugh. He has Mike McDaniel as his go-to. It is what it is. He worked under Wink Martin. Unfortunately for us, this defense doesn't have a leader, and the leader truly is Zach Sealer, and unfortunately, he hasn't been a leader this year. I think the pressure of being a captain and the pressure of doing too much has actually gotten to him, and there's no true leader on defense. Let's think about it like this. There's no true leader on defense right now. There's no true leader on offense right now, except for the leaders now was given as Tua Tagovailoa. And unfortunately, he's too big for it. The team sort of stayed a little sense. Just think, what was the one salient point the last couple of years, Bobby? On the defense, they had Calais Campbell, they had Christian Wilkins, they had Xavier Howard, they had Jalen Ramsey. They don't have anyone like that. They have no dogs on the defense. And the dog that was a dog tonight, the dog of the defense, Jordan Brooks, took a boneheaded penalty today. Okay, he tries to be too aggressive. On the offense, the only dog on that offense right now who's actually acting like a leader, they took the captaincy away from because of his immaturity off the field. But I keep on realizing now, a lot of times what Tyreek had to say, I'm out. The defense if I'm Bradley Chubb, I want out. If I'm Minka Fitzpatrick, what the heck am I doing here? The only guy who showed up today because he was so excited to play because he hasn't played all year is Ashton Davis. No one made a play even close to what Ashton Davis did today. No one. The only positivity coming out of that defense right now is every sack Bradley Chubb gets, you'll get a higher draft pick to trade him away at the trade deadline. That's the only thing I can get out of that.
Yeah, all good points. The defense has shown,
it's a mirror of the offense.
Maybe even worse, just because you knew the flaws of this defense. We talked about it, but we expected a lot of that D line. And it's only 3 weeks. I get it, but it's such a short season. It's not like NHL or NBA or MLB where you have so many games, 80, 100, whatever. It's only 18 weeks of football. You don't have time to grow. You have no time to, it's only, you have so much. If you watch this defense, I don't see a defense that's going to improve enough that's going to save your season when you need it. The middle of the defense was so wide open every time, whether it was running or throwing, every time they could, the opposing offense would do it. All they have to do is to throw it right down the middle or run it right down the middle. It's that bad. And that D-line, Jordan Phillips, Kenneth Grant, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, Chop, Bradley, we had all these all-star names there, or to us, big names. How many times they run it down our throat? How many times do they pressure the quarterback? They don't. They have all the time in the world. And yes, it comes down to players. Absolutely, they got to execute, but that falls down on your head, on your coach, on your defensive coach. He's not putting them in winning situations. And it's bad in week 1 when Bradley Chubb, who's the only one who's really getting the numbers, getting the sacks, 3 sacks. It's really bad when he goes, we're making it up as we go. Freelancing. There's a problem in Miami. And yes, we know who the head guy is. And we're talking about coaches, we're talking about players. We know the front office. I'm talking about we know Mike McDaniel, he's the ultimate guy because he's the coach. It falls on him. He's the lead dog. But Anthony Weaver, as high as everyone has been on him and as high as everyone views him around the league, we know if he gets laid off, if Miami was to use him as, fire him or McDaniel gets fired and they get a new deal, we know he's going to get a job right away. And he'll be in the rumor mill for coaching jobs or whatever. But this year has not been a good testament for him whatsoever. I don't care about the talent because they're making boneheaded plays. They're not being put in positions to win. That's on the coach. Penalties, etc. Talking about the coach. Talking about Mike McDaniel. There's a lot of noise out in the Twitterverse right now about how Miami played, the effort they showed today, the game, the way the game was called. This was the best called game. Miami put up a fight against Buffalo. Hot seat no more. We'll get into that in just a second, so don't get on that. Just stick to what today is. You talked a lot about it. What was different about the first 2 weeks? What did McDaniel do different than the last 2 weeks? Because we know all the noise that was post game around Dolphins Twitterverse, around the content creators, the beat writers, the national dialogue. We knew what everybody was saying about Coach Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. Now the noise is a little bit different, and I don't know what he's saying post game. I know he had post game press conference. I think I saw somebody wrote a comment about it.
Tua made Tua made the wrong choice. There wasn't what
okay.
Do. There's
no
moral victory.
What was the difference from what did you see that was different from this game this week with Mike McDaniel as head coach from the last 2 weeks that people would say, this is the Mike McDaniel we want to see. This is the Dolphins we want to see. We lost, but hey, good effort.
He created plays that involve his 2 best offensive weapons, which are Waddle and Hill. The fact that they got the ball to Waddle and Hill was why the ball moved downfield. He got the ball out of Tua's hands quickly. Tua, with the ball in his hands, is a disaster. He utilized Ollie Gordon a little bit. He utilized Devon Achane as a security blanket, I think, a little too much, but Devon Achane was utilized the right way for a good portion of the game. He involved Julian Hill. He involved the tight end at one point. Julian Hill had 2 or 3 catches. He spread the ball around. But by the way, I would like to ask you something. Larry Borum was fine tonight. Was your second signing with James Daniels. You remember, Bobby, who was the first guy they signed? You remember who the first guy they signed was this season? In the free agency?
What?
His name is Nick Westbrook-Ikine. Have you heard of him? Because he's been as visible on the field as Darren Waller. Your big body wide receiver, a ghost to Mike McDaniel. Doesn't use big bodies. He wants to use oompa, loompa, doopa-dee-doo. But at least he used Waddle and Hill, and he involved Ollie Gordon. But when it mattered the most, the 2 most successful tools that the Bills used tonight in the red zone, which was their legs, Mike McDaniel did it. On first down, with plenty of time left on the clock, instead of giving the ball to Achane and giving the ball to Gordon and establishing that run that worked so well, where the running game was giving you more average per yards. Literally, Ollie Gordon had the same average running, and Devon Achane had a 1 yard more rushing than Mike McDaniel had. Tua Tagovailoa had passing. The mistake that Mike McDaniel had, what he did well, was he didn't allow Tua to control the game, because Tua can't be in control of that game. He allowed his playmakers to be in control of the game. And then when it mattered the most, he got away from his playmakers and gave the ball to his quarterback, who made by far one of the most predictable throws this week, last week, the week before, and he continues to do it. Because why? Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa put him in that position. So kudos to Mike McDaniel for being a wonderful play designer. Unfortunately, as you keep on saying, he shouldn't be the play caller. The play caller should be somebody not too invested in him being a mad scientist. So his mad scientist, unfortunately, the good is the fact that they were able to stay close. But they have stayed close. I thought they were going to get destroyed because I thought they were just going to die. Because some players just give up on their coach. They played for their coach tonight. Unfortunately, when it mattered most, when Tyreek Hill played his butt off and Jalen Waddle played his butt off, which he didn't find Jalen Waddle till the second half anyways.
No.
Which is ridiculous to me. Mike McDaniel crapped the bed again. So he had his highs. The problem is that it doesn't matter how high you get. If you have a terrible low, that will always outweigh the high. So he's done this before. He's kept it close. This is not my first rodeo in Buffalo. Unfortunately, in the end, Tua Tagovailoa will only do what he is told. And unfortunately, that's his kryptonite, is that he does things. Because when Tua, like I said, the pass that he made to Waddle for the touchdown, or the ones to Hill, if you shoot replays, the ball's gone before the player gets there. The moment Tua is looking, we're dead. We're dead. And unfortunately, when it mattered most, he did it. The best thing, like I said, the best thing he did was he treated Mike Tua like Jay Fiedler and Chad Pennington often tonight, in the moments where you just get the ball out and do what you need to do. Don't make plays. Then he crapped the bed. Then he shot himself again by giving the ball to Tua to win him a game. It's like a reliever who gives up home run after home run after home run, but you keep on throwing him out there, hoping he'll get over the yips.
We're gonna stay on with Daniel and get into if his job is safe. But Tua on tonight's loss versus the Buffalo Bills, no moral victories, that's for sure. never good to lose, regardless of how a certain individual may have felt they performed. I'm trying to see if, let's see here, if we could get any more. Let's see if I get any more comments post game here from Bradley Chubb on having 3 sacks in his first three games this season. I don't want to just have a splash play here and there. 3 sacks in 3 games is cool, but I need to be more dominant in the game. That's what I want to hear from a guy who, we just gave him the praise for being one of the guys who are actually getting plays done, and he's saying that's not enough. I got to have a bigger impact on the game. I need to have more solid plays. Bradley Chubb on the defensive performance versus Buffalo. I feel like we're getting closer to where we want to be. I have no doubt that we will turn it around. Tua on his game-stealing interception. I thought I was in rhythm in the timing of the play. Think that was really good. That was just a really good play by the defender. Tua on Zach Sealer's roughing the punter penalty. That's always going to be deflating. It's not like they're going out there trying to do that, trying to do the thing, and unfortunately, that's what happened. Tua on the team's mindset going into tonight's game and starting the season 0-3. I wouldn't say there was any emphasis to prove anything to anyone. I would say there was an emotion of wanting to get this thing right for each other. So, anyway, whatever.
Only one team has gone from 0-3 to the NFL playoffs in 2015. 1 of 41.
There you go.
So so Ross has to make a decision. If Ross keeps McDaniel, Bobby, tell me if you agree. He doesn't care about the playoffs. He doesn't care about winning. Because he's had 4 years of this.
Well, I think maybe in his eyes, firing McDaniel now would be basically saying there's no shot at the playoffs.
But that's a reverse. By firing McDaniel, you light a fire. There's no coach who's ever when they fired Joe Philbin and they brought in Dan Campbell, they were a better team. They were a better team.
They were 5-7 with him, but yeah, they were.
Well, that was they have much more talent on this roster.
I understand. So
you still have Tyreek Hill. You still have Jalen Waddle. You still have Devon Achane. You still have Ollie freaking Gordon. You still have Zach Sealer. You still have Bradley Chubb.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. I know. Well, let me ask you. Fired. Yeah, I said, did he do enough tonight? Was tonight enough? They're still 0-3 to save his job for now.
I think it has nothing to do. I actually think no matter what happened tonight, even Stephen Ross is too obtuse and too. I think he's afraid to fire him. I think he's terrified to fire him. He doesn't want to deal with the process of hiring somebody else. I don't think he wants to deal with this. I think he's trying to avoid it.
How do you say project?
Project.
Okay. You said process. And so when I hear process, I tell you, one of my favorite shows now, and they're not on anymore. I watch them on YouTube. Yeah. But don't be a hater. Let me just say it. Yes, Russ Valley. I watch this, but you know how they say project? Project.
Yeah, where they're from in Canada.
I know, but I just think it's hilarious. This project, and I'm like, I gotta ask Evan because I haven't heard you say it, so I had to wonder.
From a different province or different province.
Sorry, that's why you're so sensitive.
Oh, it's fine. But no, all to say is I believe that I think Stephen Ross cares more about. I'm now coming to the conclusion that he doesn't care about winning. He does not care about winning. Because if he cares about winning, you have to light a fire. You're not interested in lighting a fire. He's literally in denial. I actually think he's in actual denial. He's in actual denial about the fact that this nice kid, because that's also the thing, Bobby. Mike McDaniel's a nice guy, right? So it's hard to fire nice people. It's hard to fire someone you want to spend time with. No one wants to spend time with Brian Flores or Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin or like no one wants to spend time with these people. They're a-holes. But at the same time, they win. And unless you're Andy Reid. Because Andy Reid had Donovan McNabb and couldn't win. But then he got Patrick Mahomes and he won. Right? Right? So, all to say, I think Mike McDaniel stays because I don't think actually unless you're Darrell Bevel, I don't think, or Frank Smith. He's also, by the way, I think it sounds crazy, but I think Steve Ross actually doesn't want to deal with. I don't think he thinks anyone wants to deal with his quarterback. So even if he fires him, I think he has to realize they're going to have to eat like 70-odd million of the cap and do what the Denver Broncos did. Because if you get rid of Mike McDaniel, unless Tua lights the fire, he literally has a lobotomy and completely changes the way he is as a quarterback and actually becomes the quarterback everyone expects him to be for the money he's making. And he doesn't want to be Daniel Jones. No head coach outside of here is coming in and saying Tua Tagovailoa is my quarterback. Right? That's the problem.
For me, I'm just going to say, what's up, Andrew? Andrew Harris says, fire Chris Greer. No doubt. I just want to say, I absolutely believe the thought is in Stephen Ross's head right now.
He's afraid
it's not about afraid to make the move. It's when is the right time to make the move. Because, again, you fire him. You say it will light a fire under them, and now's the time to do it, which, again, I agree. Nobody thought the Dolphins were going to be 0-3. If you tell me you do, you're a liar. Nobody said Miami was going to be 0-3. No one can really think Miami was going to be 0-3, losing to Indy, losing to New England. And, of course, Buffalo's a different story. No one thought that. Stephen Ross, I guarantee, did not think we were going to be 0-3 on the season, and the way we've gone on 0-3. Tonight was a good, right? This loss, if we would have been 2-0 and we lose this way, you go, holy crap, man, Miami may actually be turning the corner. This might be a team, if they were 2-0 going in, now they're 2-1. If that was the case, Miami beats New England, beats Indy, they're 2-0, they lose against Buffalo here, but the way they fought against Buffalo tonight, minus the bonehead move, you would have been like, you know what? Yeah, they lost, but they put up a hell of a fight. That's a different thing. Because people are going to use this and go, you see, look, McDaniel coached a good game. Dolphins played really well. This is a good thing. They're 0-3. Don't forget the first two games. I guarantee you, Stephen Ross, even though Miami had a good game, they lost, the thoughts in his head. Because if you lose against the Jets and you're 0-4, there's no way you should have been 0-3. You lose against the Jets, you're 0-4 going against Carolina.
No, but that's not the issue.
How do you live? How do you survive that?
No, but not even that. It's the fact that he said the word status quo will not be accepted. It is status quo. They're always close with Buffalo sometimes when they're in Buffalo the last couple of times. So there was exactly last year. But let's do this exercise, Bobby. I want you to do this exercise. Watch what's going to happen. This is my mindset. Next week against the Jets, right? Now on Monday Night Football, they win. Okay? They're 1-3. Okay? They go against Carolina. They're 2-3. Okay? Fantastic. They're now getting close. No chance in, as Vince McMahon says, no chance in hell do they beat the Chargers. There isn't even an iota. There's not even a chance. The pressure of Tua Tagovailoa now against Justin Herbert, and you don't think that Jim Harbaugh will literally kick the crap out of that Mike McDaniel's play calling? I don't even want to get me started. We're 2-4. The Browns, fine. Flacco, whatever. They're not playing at the Browns. It's Sunday, 1:00. They can pull that off. Fine, they're 3-4. They're going to go against the Falcons and beat John Robinson. They're not winning that game. They're 3-5. The Ravens, they're 3-6. Even if they put 5, I'll even give them the Falcons game. They're 4-5. Okay, they're 4-5. They're getting there, Bobby. The Ravens, they lose. They're 4-6. Then they go to Buffalo, 4-7. Then they have to go face the Commanders and Jalen Daniel away where they've never won, 4-8. Then they come back and face the Saints. Oh, we could do this, guys. 5-8. The Jets, we could do it. 6-8. Oh, now we got the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, pressure, cold weather. 9 losses. Season's over. Then they have the Bucks, then the Bengals. If they don't have Joe Burrow, but the last time, so what? They win their next game. So what now? They're 6-9. The Bucks, not a chance. Christmas, they're going to blow that game. They already had 10 losses. So then they beat the Patriots. They're 7-10, which was 6-11. That was my prediction for the year. Fantastic. But what does that get you? It gets you a bottom 10 pick, not even a lottery pick, and you're exactly where you were, and you fire Mike McDaniel, and that's it. So, Bobby, tell me where I said anything. It doesn't matter what they do the rest of the year. There's nothing Mike McDaniel can do because all it will prove is that they're going to be 25 years of no playoffs.
Yeah.
The fan base is going to be apathetic, and they're at one point going to be 4-8. So even with the potential wins against New Orleans and New England and the Jets, those 3 wins, they're going to be 4-8. They're not, and there's no chance. Had they had the 2, if they left this game, Bobby, and they were 1-2, and they would have beaten the Patriots, we'd be having a different conversation. But they're 0-3. 0-3 teams do not make the playoffs. And the only way, so unless you want to potentially make the playoffs and go on a crazy run, you have to change the concept and the mindset of this football team. You can't change the mindset of the football team when the guy asked, "What do you feel about the fact that Tua threw that interception?" Well, I believe that it should have. Let's go back. I think that the combination of the Oscar of the what was the man? There's no fire. But Tyreek Hill says he had piss in his veins today, Mike McDaniel. Where was the piss? Because perhaps with the piss in the veins when they were down 14-7, they had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. They had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. The Miami Dolphins did. That's not piss in your veins. Take the lead, do whatever you need to. They were at the half, but we told you at the beginning they needed to get a lead. They fell behind. They got 1 lead. They blew the lead in 2 drives, and they never caught up. The moment they fell down 14-7, they never got up again.
Let me ask you, as we get close to wrap up here, I'm with you. If I'm Ross, I'm firing him tomorrow. I mean, it's just start the process.
By the way, at the point, who scores that touchdown? What's the score?
What?
If Tua would have gone down and didn't throw the interception, what would the score have been? We forgot to talk about this.
It would have been tied, 28 up, right?
Oh, and the way Tua was going, because they were throwing the ball, you would have left 2 minutes for Josh Allen. Mike McDaniel should have been running the goddamn ball to kill the clock.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You should have ran. Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan crap of throwing the ball.
I get it.
And it was stupid. Mike McDaniel, by the way, I wish I would tell everybody, even if Tua would have done what he did, the Dolphins were losing because we would have left time on the clock. And Josh Allen would have gone down that field and Matt Prater would have hit a winning field goal. And it would have been 31-28. Because Mike McDaniel did not play a winning football game in the 4th quarter. He played I'm going to give the ball to my quarterback quarter in that drive to prove the haters wrong. I think he was doing that for Tua. He put Tua ahead of his team tonight in that last drive. Tua should not have been that should not have been in Tua's hands on that pick. He put the cart before the horse.
He was trying to put the game into his hands. He wanted Tua to win so he could have it. Gotcha.
Exactly.
I got you. Let me ask you this. If you're the owner, you fire Mike McDaniel tomorrow. Do you have who are the coaches you target? Or is there a coach or two or three coaches you would target?
Interim coach or
no. Well, no, not interim coach because you could say Bevel or Anthony Weaver. I wouldn't.
No. The only coaches I would. It sounds awful, and I'm not kidding about it. And people are going to think I'm not. The only person right now who's out there in the market who could scare the crap out of this team day one is Chucky. It's the only one who could do it. I'm saying that's the concept. It's the only guy out there. McCarthy, play call sheet. play call sheet. There's no one
Super
right
Bowl
now,
champ.
huh?
Super Bowl champ.
I understand. 10 years ago with Aaron Rodgers,
Still,
he couldn't do it with Dak. He couldn't do it with Dak. He ain't gonna do it with Tua.
he had Jerry. I mean, I get it. But again, what has John Gruden done?
If you fire, but I'm saying if you fire Mike McDaniel,
Not him. Just pull it.
Let's say they want to go get Mike McCarthy and they want to go get someone on the market and not have an interim. They better fire Frank Smith.
John Gruden makes sense just because it's a splash move. John Gruden makes sense because it's a splash.
And that is Steve Ross. But my point is at this point, the problem I'm having is the problem we have right now, Bobby, and it made me reflect today. There's only one coach right now, and you're going to laugh at me. I watched the game very carefully tonight.
Yeah.
There's only one coach who had the fire in his ass tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what his name was? Can you guess who it was?
Who's that?
Go watch the game back. There's only one guy who was yelling at his players within his area. Butch Barry. Darrell Bevel's too close to Tua, and Tua's not going to change. Frank Smith, I've never seen Frank Smith. I've never actually physically seen him except at the podium. I don't know where he is in the building. Anthony Weaver has lost all faith in anybody. He'd be a bad pick. They don't have anybody on the roster. That's the problem they have right now. Unless you want to give it to Slowick because he was there. Maybe Slowick
as an interim. You're talking about as an interim coach. As an interim coach.
Bobby, that's my two options. It has to be an offensive guy ball, and it would either have to be I'd make Bobby Slowick the play caller. Get rid of Darrell Bevel. Get rid of Frank Smith. Whatever. I don't care. I don't need them. Bring in and make Bobby Slowick the coach. And I don't care. Do whatever you want, but it can't be someone who is invested in Tua as he is now. You need to make it. I want a guy who runs this team. By the way, the only way they're going to win now is they better run and smash. They need to become a hard-nosed smash football team. That's it. They're not going to win with Tua with the ball in his hand. 100% not. That's the problem today. That's why I wanted Derrick Henry, because you want to know what? Freaking Derrick Henry to have the ball for.
I know. I think I'm not against if when it does happen, whatever, because we'll never know.
Rex Ryan anymore because he called him McGenius.
Well, if I'm not against any I'm not against listening, regarding any veteran head coach, and that even goes for John Gruden. I know I reacted that way with John Gruden because everybody's like, "Oh, John Gruden," but John Gruden is still John Gruden. Chucky would be fun to see on the sideline, but we saw what he did with the Raiders, and we know how that kind of played out. But it is what it is. Then it's a splash.
But now I'm not. Sorry, but that difference was that he left on his own terms. When he went back to the Raiders, he went too big for his britches. Now it's that second chance type of thing, right? Because
I get it. I'm not against a name that veteran.
But I need a veteran.
Any veteran head coach. I'm just gonna say there's a few of them out there, right? There's some that you might go, but there's others that you go, again, you bring up Mike McCarthy, John Gruden, and again, one of the Mike McCarthy, Mike McCarthy, but still, this guy who's never had it. And again, we're gonna do a show on this. We will do a show on this, but I would say like Ron Rivera is a guy that I've always liked. Steve Spagnuolo is not somebody who mentions them a lot, but Spagnuolo, I think, is one of those guys who deserves a chance one day in this league.
Bringing Tom Coughlin, is he alive? That guy would kick.
I don't want to say he's not alive. I don't know. But just veteran coaches. I'm going to say, let me just bring up some veteran coach names that you just initial reaction.
Yeah.
Don't have to get into it, okay? But okay, you already mentioned Mike McCarthy. We mentioned John Gruden. Steve Spagnuolo, very quick, just initial reaction, because we haven't dived deep in these guys. But I just off your top of your head, you're just initial reaction to them.
No.
Okay. Cliff Kingsbury.
No.
Ron Rivera.
No.
Matt Nagy.
No, never.
See, that's the type of reaction I'm talking about. Not the no, yes. I just
never.
Doug Peterson.
No.
Leslie Frazier.
No way, Jose.
Robert Saleh.
100%.
Ooh. Okay. Arthur Smith.
No.
Jared Mayo.
No.
Steve Wilkes.
No.
Antonio Pierce.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Vance Joseph.
No.
Frank Reich.
No.
You remember him?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are veteran coaches.
Name. You see the two I reacted to?
You said Antonio Pierce and Robert Saleh.
Yeah. Want to know why?
Why?
They scare me. No, meaning that they have both.
Oh, Rex Ryan. I'm sorry. Rex Ryan.
I would.
I know.
I
Okay.
need a guy who is going to hold his player to task. Even Andy Reid holds Patrick Mahomes to task. Nick Sirianni holds his players to task. All these players. That's why Joe Burrow and the Bengals aren't going to win because Zach Taylor's not. You need a fire. There's no fire on that side.
So I'll just say, I'm just going to say.
Vic Fangio wasn't successful as a head coach when he went to Denver because he's a tactician. He's not a fiery guy.
Spagnuolo is a guy that I wouldn't hate.
He's too soft. He's too soft.
I don't know about that. I think, again,
he's a little dwindling man. He doesn't scare me.
Doug Peterson, I'm never against. I know a lot of people do like
I would
Salah.
go get Rich. No, you know what I like? Is he still with Green Bay as a special teams guy? Or is he?
Who? Anyway, let me ask you here. I'm just going to throw names out there, okay? And if you know them, you know them. If you don't, you don't. But, a popular name. A lot of people are going to bring up, first of all.
You know who? You know who I liked a lot when he was there and he's doing a great job? You should have said him if you got a chance. Rich Bisaccia. He was loved in Oakland. Sorry, when he was there.
Oh, yes. Their interim head coach.
And he's the assistant head coach and special teams coordinator.
Yeah, but that's interim. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No, of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I know. I know who he is.
He's doing a phenomenal job there. He's beloved there.
So so any veteran head coach, but again, former player, I'm not against it all. The guys I said, obviously there's someone I might know, but I put them there because they're there, and I'm going to do more research on them.
Would you go get Wink?
Now, is there, huh?
Would you go get Wink?
As a head coach? No.
Would you get Sharon? Would you go get Sharon?
Who's that?
The head coach of Michigan. Because he might go to Michigan. You never know with that guy. He might go dig into Michigan.
Oh, let me just say. You know where I stand. I know where you stand. Veteran head coach. If it is a rookie, right? If you're going to go with a guy first, to me, I'd prefer a former player, a guy who's played in this league, who's been in a coaching staff. That's where I stand. Now, hot shot coordinators. Alex brought up Joe Brady. He's in Buffalo. I just don't feel that way. If there's the guy that I'm going to say who is old school feel, but you've seen what he's done with that offense. He's is Todd Mankin out of Baltimore. If you're talking about a coordinator, Todd Mankin out of Baltimore.
We need a leader.
But that's a guy where I might be intrigued to follow up on.
College. Then go college. I'm telling you, go get
college. I just feel so way. But hold on, let me just say. I just want to go through these.
For all I care, go get Dabo. I don't care.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, why not?
Stop it. But Todd Mankin's the only one. Of course, there's other guys, but these guys are former players. Zach Orr, he's a former player.
If you really want to piss off Brett,
he's another Baltimore Raven.
I think the guy that Brett hates just as much as Chris Greer is Ryan Day. That would make him go bananas.
Oh God. But again, these other rookie coaches there that of course Bobby Babich, but I'm not that. But I just you're not ready. Avero is a guy who for Carolina who's been named in that category for a while. But again, Todd Mankin's the only one who's not a former player that might be an interesting part as
who I would beg. You know who I would go get?
Who?
I wish he would do it. There's one player. I think he retired. But there's two guys. The one guy I would still go get it because he does talk. He goes on shows. You want to kick the ass and be a successful head coach, Bruce Arians. Go get him as intern for the rest of the
Bruce
year.
Arians.
I would go pay Tony Dungy everything more. Tony, just sit on the sideline. You want your defense fixed? You bring in Tony Dungy for a day.
There's a few guys, but talk about Hank Fraley from Detroit. He's a guy, big dude, former offensive lineman. NFL.
You should
But
see what Richard Webb is saying. Richard Webb, Larry Zonka, OJ McDuffie. You're talking about Dolphin alums. They're done. They're done.
College. I mean, there's a few of them, but there's a few former players. I mean, we'll get more into it, but it'll be fun. But the college coaches that I had listed down, and I think you're not wrong, but Quinn Ewers we have back here. Steve Sarkisian, is that a guy who might draw some interest? Lincoln Riley out of USC. He's been looked at before from different teams.
You didn't mention
popular name, Deion Sanders. Huh?
I'm gonna throw a name out there for you. I'm actually not kidding.
Okay.
Ross wasn't the owner at the time. What would be your reaction if Ross went and said, $10 million, this is your franchise, do what you want for the next 5 years? There you go, Nick Saban.
I knew it. You go. Why do you have to end it on?
Let me ask you. I'm not kidding. If Nick Saban, you want to talk about saving Tua?
I knew you were going to do it. As soon as you
want to
said
save Tua? You bring in Nick Saban. I
don't want to save Tua. I'm going to be done with Tua.
No, but my point is that if they don't want to eat Tua, the only guy who could possibly save Tua from himself and us is Nick Saban.
I want a coach who's going to save the Miami Dolphins, not one player.
By the way, let me ask you something. Nick Saban, in the end, as much as we despise him for what he did the right thing. He was right to leave when he left because the team sucked. He went to the perfect situation. He put himself first. But now he done what he had to do. He's the greatest college coach ever. Now he can go save the Miami Dolphins and he can go save the guy who won him a national championship. Can you imagine? But let me ask you, if you had to pull it, Bobby, let me ask you, you had two choices. The right lever, the left lever, and you had two choices, or three choices. Belichick, Saban, Gruden. Pick the devil, the devil. Which of the three would you take to oversee your franchise? Belichick, Saban, Gruden. Because those are splashes for him. He's going to want to make a splash. Who is your splash? Because those are the only three also who can come in, like Brett and Greg always say, and you say, who can actually, as a head coach, like Andy Reid, run the front office. Because they know how to do player procurement. So is it Gruden? Is it Saban? Is it late hour? Or is it Belichick? Pick one. Who would you be able to wake up in the morning and say, this guy has a potential to turn this around? Pick one. Pick one. I'm not no dummy. Pick one. You have to pick.
I'm not interested in saving one player.
The team. Which player?
You said a player, so I'm not going with Nick Saban. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Not doing that. Not doing it. I don't know. Belichick's a guy I'd only hire as the president of football operations. That's the only thing I'd hire for. So if you're giving me those three guys, I would do John Gruden.
There we go.
I would not make Bill Belichick the head football coach because, first of all, I don't want him breaking Don Shula's record in Miami, and secondly, I don't think he I don't think he has it. I think if you put him in an office and say help develop this team, it might be a different story. You make him the head of foot. That's a splash. Bill Belichick, which is a Ross move. Bill Belichick is head of football operations for the Miami Dolphins. That's a splash. You don't put him on the sidelines. You put him in the office, and then you let him hire whoever he's going to hire to do whatever you're going to do. That's the only thing I'm doing with Bill Belichick. Right now in this project, if you're going to be those three guys, I would go John Gruden.
There we go.
There's we're going to get more into it. Raphael says Rex Ryan. We talked about it. I keep head coach and fire GM, trade away Tua in 2026. That's fair. What do you believe? I'd fire them all. Get rid of them all. Fire them all. Hire a head of football operations or a GM and let him start the process right now of hiring. Or if you want to get a star head coach or a former head coach, whatever, get your head coach. Then work with him to hire a GM so they can work together and build it up. And I'm not against talking about any veteran head coach, former head coach. May not want him, maybe ever rank on my bottom of the list, but I'm not against talking about them. So any name you throw out there, let's discuss. But, There are some, like I said, there are some rookie coaches that I could, but I'm really like not interested. And Mike McCarthy's a different. I mean, because you said I don't want to. See, one of these rookie coaches with ones that have the playbook in front of them. Someone like Mike McCarthy and whatever those guys. There's veteran coaches, but I'm with you. I want a guy who's delegates tasks and everything else. The season just started, and Dolphin fans can't see it's already over. Which Dolphin fans can't see it's already over? They're 0-3. I mean, I'm not saying Ravioli on top about us, but I'm just saying, bro, I'm shocked if anybody does not see that. But hey, at least they put up a fight tonight, right? That's good. Anyway, we're at an hour and a half. It's 12:47 in the morning here on FTSN. We appreciate everybody tuning in and joining us here tonight. Craig says, what about Louis Riddick as GM and Rex Ryan as head coach? Evan, I'll let you react very quick to that.
I don't want... Rex Ryan has truly never won something. He's a good defensive mind, but I don't think because of the fact that he doesn't think highly of McDaniel, I think he'll be harder on Tua. I need a guy. We need another offensive guy. I think that if you bring it up,
I'm looking past Tua. I don't care. When I hire a coach, I'm not thinking about what does this do for Tua.
I don't think Rex Ryan and Louis Riddick are a good job. I don't want two guys.
I don't think so either. I'm with you. I'm not. That's not my initial thing. I get why people say it. I'm not with it.
No, let me put it this way: John Gruden wasn't fired because he was not fired because of the performance on the field. He was fired because of an issue that happened within the organization, similar to Flores, which now he's in turn suing. He won his appeal
again.
So,
yeah,
I'm saying. So for me, I want a guy who's won a Super Bowl, who's been successful in this league. So whether it's a John Gruden or a Bruce Arians type,
and the only way you get those type of coaches, and I mean this for any of them, John Gruden, or even you can say when you want to say Rex Ryan, Steve Spagnuolo, Ron Rivera, Mike McCarthy, any of those veteran type of coaches. The only way you get those guys, even Belichick, Greer is not the GM. They're gonna want a GM they can work with. They're not. They want their own GM. If Chris Greer steal the GM, that makes a whole other dynamic because that's a whole other coach that you're looking at and a whole other player. Because then you're looking at those rookie coaches. You might look at a guy, another type of veteran, a former head coach who, But again, are they going to want to work with those guys? See, like Craig's saying here, that's what it's exactly. If you hire a guy like John Gruden, he's going to want to go get his own general manager so they could work together, and that's fine. That's what you want to do for that coach, for that type of coach. Hey, we want to bring you on board. Who's the guy you want to? Who's the GM, general managers you want to talk to? Like, again, that's what you do. The guys that would do that, those, obviously Bill Belichick would do that. Spagnuolo would probably go look at a guy in Kansas City and bring him over to be his GM. Why keep a handicapped quarterback? How many times do we have to watch a quarterback game, give a game away? I'm 3-0 for not watching Dolphin games this year. Don't need to see that trash. There you go. But yeah, that's why when I'm looking at coaches, which is okay, I understand your point, Evan. I'm just saying when I'm looking at coaches, I'm looking past Tua now. I'm looking about the team. You know what I mean? So. But either way, Evan, your quick final thoughts before we wrap this up.
The quick final thoughts are: I feel awful for the fans of the Dolphins because I was following Twitter at the beginning of the game, and I thought people were going to get this hopium with the fact that they took the lead. And I go, that's exactly what I wanted them to do, but I knew it wasn't going to last. And unfortunately, we have. These kind of losses actually are worse than getting smashed, because when you get smashed, you can actually know the ending. Here, you didn't know the ending, but you really did, and you didn't want to admit it to yourself that the Dolphins are going to Dolphin. So my concern is because Miami Dolphins are so comfortable being the average Joe, Mike McDaniel's not going anywhere. Chris Greer is not going anywhere. We're going to suffer through this season altogether. I'm going to complain about Mike McDaniel. You're going to complain about Tua. Brett and the rest of the world is going to complain about Greer. And we're just going to be a very unhappy fan base that's not going to go to games. Stephen Ross is not going to care. Stephen Ross is putting Mike McDaniel ahead and Chris Greer ahead of everybody else. He's not putting the franchise as his number one priority. He's putting up two individuals who've actually hurt this franchise and have created a lot of apathy for this franchise in the book. So for me, my final thoughts are this loss only reiterated to me that this team thinks that they're close, but they're never just there. Just like the playoff game. They might make it, but they're never going to win. This is what this team is. This team is exactly as Mike McDaniel is every time he opens his mouth. Dazed and confused and a word salad. It literally is a complete mishkabibbled. It's a complete clusterfuck. This team should change its name to the Miami Clusterfucks because that's what they are. From the head coach to the owner to the GM to the fan base. We are a bunch of clusterfucks because we are so confused and we're pulled in all different directions. And that falls at more than anybody. I can blame Mike McDaniel as much as I want. I can blame Greer as much as I want. There's an 85-year-old, $12 billion man who, with his binoculars, even with those binoculars, can't see the forest for the trees and is willing to choose his head coach and his general manager, who has destroyed this franchise for over 20 years, over the fans who travel, who support, podcast about. He's letting these two people destroy the best opportunity they had to win in 35 years.
There you go. I don't think there's any more left to be said in regards to that. I think Evan said it pretty good. Pre-game, post-game show. First off, we appreciate everybody who's hanged with us the last 3 weeks. We will be back for week 4, obviously. But another primetime game. Evan and I will be back with Sammy for the FinsTalk pre-game show. Monday Night Football against the New York Football Jets next week, where the Dolphins have a chance to go 1-3 or 0-4. Lord help us all. And then, of course, post-game immediately after that with me and Evan. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a lot of great content tomorrow on deck with Russ Morgan, baseball podcast. Saturday, FinsTalk today, and then we know at noon with No Holds Barred at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We got the Wrestle Palooza preview show, and then we're off on Sunday, which is awesome, unless we got some breaking news, maybe. And then we're back at it for the following week. We had a lot of great content, of course, with the Canes Wear podcast. We got, I think Doll's Diaries is actually off next week. We got Real Talk FinsTalk, Aging and Strong. I think Aging Strong is tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff. So if you're new to the channel, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button. If you love what we said or you hate what we said, please, please, please put it in the comments. Give us your thoughts on what your thoughts are on the Miami Dolphins so far this season, especially tonight's game. The Dolphins fall to 0-3 on the season after losing 21-31, choking the game away, whether it was hitting a punter and giving them the first down or throwing an INT because someone was in your face, quote unquote. That's FinStanza. I'm Bobby FinsTalk. We appreciate you guys. We really do. I know it's hard, but do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, fins up. Have a good night, Miami.